Hello, this is the bar hole, or a brief demo of what a bar hole would look like. But before we do that, we wanted to just show you what a skull would look like. So that's the frontal bone. We just have one frontal bone. We have two parietal bones, so that's the left and the right parietal bone. We have the sphenoid bone, and then the temporal bone, and finally the occipital bone. So as we've discussed earlier, this is basically the skull, and our areas of interest will be frontal, parietal, sphenoid, temporal, maybe occipital. Okay, so if we say we would like to do a bar hole, the basic instruments. So we talked about the Hudson press. It's a manual drill, it's a hand drill. So you hold it like that, and then this is basically the stabilizing part of the drill. And then we talked about the mastoid retractors, or the self-retaining retractors. So then they're closed, and then they should be opened up. We talked about the periosteo elevator. It basically strips periosteum from bone, and then it also strips dura from bone in children and in the elderly. And then the bone nibbler, or the ronger. So we will also look at what the perforator does, and then the bar. So if this is our skull, as we look at it, we've had multiple bar holes done, but from our discussion, this would basically be a craniectomy. So we see the multiple bar holes that were done there, and then these were joined together to pull out the bone. So because he doesn't have that piece of bone, we'll call this a craniotomy. A craniectomy, if we had put back the bone, then it would be the craniotomy site. So if we want to do a bar hole, there are some basics. So this is our Hudson breast, and so assuming we've opened up, we've exposed the bone, so would pick a perforator, and that's the perforator, would place it in, okay, and then fasten that nut, okay. Ideally, we need an assistant to firmly hold the skull, because, you know, as you're drilling, if it's not so firm, it would wobble. So with the assistant stabilizing, I'll also stabilize my right hand, you know, and then drill. So you make sure that you're moving in such a direction that you can, you know, drill in through the bone. As your assistant holds, you'll keep going. You need a bit of pressure from your right hand, and then your left hand would do the drilling. It's either way. It's not always the left hand to drill and right hand to hold. It depends on what handedness you are and how comfortable you are. So then we have a small hole. We may not definitely get down to the inner table, but we have this small hole. And once we have an initiation with the perforator, then we change it. So the changing is unlock, and then pull out the perforator, and then connect the bar, because the bar will enlarge the hole for you. So fasten it too, and then with the previous hole you made, sit it in. Make sure your assistant is holding that firmly, and then you basically drill through. Okay, so pressure and then drill with your assistant holding. Okay, so ideally, if we've made this, we should come out with a hole like that. And if we come in with a hole like that, this should be good enough to, you know, give us access into the intracranial cavity. If I want to enlarge this hole, and I don't want to, you know, do this big cranny, I just want to enlarge the hole, then I'll get the bone ronger and nibble. And then with your assistant holding, that should be able to break the bone for you. So that's exactly what we did here. So we made a bar hole, there, and with the bar hole we sort of nibbled. So as you nibble, you imagine that you get an actually bigger hole, and actually a bigger hole from the initial bar hole we made. So if you don't have a drill to make a nice, you know, a nice cut between the bar holes, so we had a bar hole there, a bar hole there, with a drill or with a jiggly saw, we made those, you know, those nice lovely cuts. But if you cannot have a good jiggly saw or a drill, then this might be your option. So you make your bar hole, and then with a bone ronger you should be able to break the bone. Okay? Yeah, thank you very much. That's the brief demo that we could make today, and in case there are any questions, we are really available to help you. Thank you very much.